Passing by Mrs.
Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on what has been just an incredible stretch of weather, excluding Memorial Day.
I walked out the door this morning. I was like, this is, chalk it up. It's perfect.
Yeah, dew point probably about 45 degrees the last couple of mornings, turning into glorious days. Humidity seems to be very low, and we are days away. No NYRA racing. We will have Churchill Downs and Woodbine today for you. NYRA shut down until they run the Belmont Festival at Saratoga, which we can't wait. Also today, is it the oldest thoroughbred race in the world of this stature, right? The Epsom Derby. Yeah. I mean, it's like 300 years old almost. Being run today. What do we say? What did you say? 11:30? 11:30 post time. And also my director and I were going through rehashing my memory, and this is the 30th anniversary of them stopping running on Wednesday. They used to, and the line was, and it was the truth, they didn't want the commoners to come. So they ran the race on Wednesday through 1994. I was saying to my director that I knew it was I wasn't sure if it was since I came to Capitol, but I said it's definitely in my adult, and I was 31 years old. So it was but 30 years now. So but they moved it from Wednesday to Saturday. We'll have that for you at 11:30.
Was there yesterday.
It should be.
Had a horse running, I think.
Does he use his mother's silks? I never looked.
I
think so. So, one of the great races in the world, the Epsom Derby. So we'll have that for you in about 2.5 hours. A terrific card at Woodbine, at Churchill Downs. I mean, it's just, a great weekend. I really think that this is going to be a smashing success at Saratoga if the weather holds out. The cards, we think the Wednesday, Thursday cards being drawn today. So we'll see.
Thursday's out already.
Thursday's out, so I'm wrong. So it must be Friday's card. So hopefully they'll get up on the PPs and you can start doing the work, because it figures to be just really
everything is drawn by Sunday, except they will have
the Met Mile and the Belmont.
Yeah, the Belmont gets.
Are they doing something?
They must be. It's 5:00 on Monday afternoon. They must be. I got to find out where it is. I'll try to go over, maybe videotape a little bit. They usually do the Travers draw in a tent over by the rec hall, over by on the Oklahoma side. So I don't know.
When you say usually, you mean like the last? Because I always thought it was fun in the paddock.
Yeah,
I always thought it was a fun, nice environment. People.
And now I'm thinking maybe it's the Whitney, because they've done the Travers downtown now.
Yeah, then it's gone. Well, that whole idea. Remember when
so I'll have to find out.
Derby was in the middle of Louisville? They stopped that, but you're trying to make a promotion. And I will say this. For those who are planning on spending all day at the Belmont Stakes, pack a lunch and maybe dinner.
And maybe breakfast.
I think the 14th race, if I saw the schedule, if I remember correctly, 8:05.
Yeah.
As the days are, obviously, this is the 6-week window where daylight is deep into the PM hours.
The go-to for big days at tracks now, up at 10:30, kick it off. Keep it going for 14.
I will say I don't mind the late. The one thing I've always said, and when the Breeders' Cup is at Churchill, this is a problem. You need walkout races, or else it's not good. Yeah. The early start though. Listen, I was 26 when I went to the Derby, and they did not. That was still a 9-race card, normal time between the 8th and the 9th. I mean, it was completely different, but. That's a long day. I mean, boy, so good luck to you there, Pat.
I would say Saratoga Harness, it was like they were doing that big race there. They had 17 at Saratoga Harness.
Yeah, but they probably got done in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well,
I mean, for them,
it did chug along much quicker.
What has been the argument when they say, well, harness racing does it, why can't you? Because they've always had like these gobbledygook answers to why we can't do it any faster. But I'm like, except the way they run, isn't the rest of the sport the same? So it's like, I mean, I know it makes for a lot of traffic for you on Sunday afternoon, but it's like Saratoga Harness is like batter up, batter up, batter up, batter up. I'm like, there's a rhythm to it that I have to say that I enjoy. You know, I really do. Anything else? What you got? A nice haircut, sharp for the season.
Thank you.
They can't see it, shorts. And it was. I would bet my whole month's allowance that is not a Seth Merrow purchase tie. That's got to be a Bic. That's got Bic written.
I would say yes, but this would be just a kind of my wheelhouse. I would.
That is nowhere near your wheelhouse.
I would go. Yeah, it's mostly blue.
It's geometrics. It's got some shine to it. That's 2 negative check mark box for you.
I could see myself.
Blue is the only thing it has going for it.
I think it probably is, but I could see myself buying that.
All right, I'm surprised to hear that from you because there's a lot of positivity from my angle going on there, and you like very staid, insurance salesman 1973 style ties, which is your comfort zone.
A picture.
Well, the reason I say that is I don't know if you had it. I don't think we were atypical, but once a year, the guy, I could picture him. If he was standing outside, I could picture what he looked like in 1973. He came to the house and just sat down with my parents at the dining room table and went over all of our insurance and everything. And
was he wearing the button down with the short sleeves? That's a look too.
It was pretty.
Now that's a look I don't go.
He had checked a lot of the boxes for what you expect of the family insurance guy coming to the house.
Let me say, top of the hour. It is. Next week is what we're all looking for, but this is a nice weekend. Great steaks at Churchill and nice steaks at Woodbine. And top of the hour, we'll have Joe Christofek from Churchill on. He'll talk the Churchill steaks.
Absolutely.
And Ron Gearking, who covers Woodbine for the Daily Racing Forum. We'll talk some of the Woodbine steaks. That all comes up at 10 o'clock.
On Racing I teased that Churchill Downs would really like to just wrap everything up after Derby Day and count their monies. But they really as with Fairgrounds, they have a very good rhythm that obviously Kentucky Derby, and then 4 weeks later, today is Stephen Foster Preview Day. Now, you can make fun of that and everything, but the racing is very beefy, which is what we care about. And then a month from now, they'll have the Stephen Foster Day, and that's really what the rhythm that racing circuits, even the powerful ones, they realize that's where they need to be, is that you just have to accept. And I've said this before. This is 30 plus years ago. NYRA was ahead of the curve. 40 years ago, they started loading up Belmont Stakes Day with stakes. But then you had the Super Saturdays in the autumn, and there were naysayers. Oh, you need the champagne and the Frisette on one weekend and everything. But the rhythm is, and Churchill Downs, just like Fairgrounds, has that perfect rhythm every 4 weeks.
Somebody tweeted out the other day, and I kind of agree. I missed the Met Mile on Memorial Day.
I completely agree. Yeah. I think it gets. I understand the Acorn. I understand the Jesta game, the Manhattan, all those. But I've said this for years, Seth. Other than the Breeders' Cup and the Triple Crown, the Met Mile is my favorite race of the year, and I think it's too big to be on the undercard of anything. I mean. And years where you have what we have going on now, no Triple Crown line, it would have been, just a great day. I agree with that person completely. I'm okay with the other 7 grade ones, whatever, but I think the Met Mile, I think maybe Palace Malice might have been the first time the Met Mile was run on Belmont Day. I'm not positive about that, but I agree. I think the Met Mile should not be the undercard of anything.
And just, we have 2 big cards, but just some other kind of fun, a couple of fun news and notes and one not so fun maybe. Frankie Dettori last night, and people on Twitter were like,
Greatest win percentage at Penn National
Who
ever.
imagined Frankie Dettori winning at Penn National because the Penn National wins the Penn Mile and the Penn Oaks? I think those were his only 2 rides.
Probably. I didn't know, but I'm like, he's probably 2 for 2 lifetime.
Kent DeSormo is considering a move to Florida, and he was at Gulfstream yesterday, and he got a win. I think he only had a couple of rides.
I just want to wheel back to the Met Mile. Here's why. There are some years when the best horse of the day or horses are running in the Met Mile. Like those 3-year-olds are never going to beat those horses. You're like, and that's I'm thinking that's why it shouldn't be. You're like, the other 2 Triple Crown races that I would never make that bet. But if you ask me every year, I get to choose the Met Mile, you get to choose the Belmont Stakes, I'm going to bet the Met Mile has the best horses in it.
No.
You know, so.
But the one news story this week that had a little negative, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. They changed the medication rules in Louisiana in seemingly a fashion that goes backwards. The folks in Louisiana who changed the rules were like, oh, this is for the betterment and the safety. And everybody else was like, whoa, and so it's going to be interesting to see how, to me, the most interesting thing is if things don't change, how it affects fairgrounds next winter. Because some of the big name trainers are kind of like, this seems like a step backwards for everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays
I guess
out.
we're hoping that field sizes don't explode.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be interesting how this plays out because it's going to tell us what the meat and potatoes operations want. Maybe not what the top run wants, maybe not what the bettors want, but we're going to find out. Yeah. We're going to find out. Just like, I said the same thing. It's like we can find out what we do or don't want about the starting gate at the, right on it. I was thinking about this the other day with you. It's like, because I'm following Emerald Downs with the penny breakage. It's like, I don't hear the leaders of racetracks advocating for their customers, the bettors, for penny breakage. They're just like, let them, let it, we're happy with this. I'm like, really? I think you should be advocating for me, your customer, that I get a better deal. But it's.
Now, that's not to say they aren't, perhaps, and we just don't hear it. But if they are, they should.
Well, part of advocating for you is drumming up noise and sound and saying, hey, what are you doing with my money?
You also may feel like it's better if we're pushing the state folks who have to make the decisions to keep it under the radar. I mean, like I say, they may be thinking that. My feeling is probably not. I think we would hear about it, but it could be happening.
Here's hoping.
All right, I'm going to look at Woodbine a little bit later on, but you're going to kick things off with Churchill. A nice stakes day down at Churchill, as you say.
That's tremendous.
Stephen Foster preview day. 6 stakes on the card. It's going to be a lot of fun. So June 1st, we're going to kick off the month with Churchill Downs' first race. Bottomish level, $10,000 conditional claimers. They're going to go 7 furlongs.
Seth, as I, got the job assignment for Churchill Downs, I was thinking and excluding the stakes races, which are bountiful. Boy, there seems to be less of a horse racing shortage in Kentucky. We always do that about Keeneland because it's a short meet and it's a very prestigious meet. But I was like, look at this race. Knock 269 for me, kicking it off. I think it's 11 race card today. 1245 Grove Street. Changing Barns comes out of a good race most recently. On paper, I just thought that this race was going to have multiple early speed horses, and I could just sit on the outside, make an overland trip, and find the winner's circle at a huge price, 15-1 on the morning line. Miss Tappy Tone, my second pick, goes out for Chris Hartman. Shortens up from a 2-turn race, and for third, Dancing Nancy. They take blinkers off, throw out the effort at Keeneland most recently. 2, 6, and 9, and what I calibrate as a wide open 12-horse field opener.
Race number 2 at Churchill Downs this afternoon. We're looking at maiden claimers. They will travel 3/4 of a mile.
And this is, I don't know if we've had these too often. I mean, these are the $100,000, which are kind of cute. And you're like, well, are they really maiden claimers? I have 5 first time in for the tag, not counting the firsters. 8-2-6, as you see there, Remarkable Mo. Terry Brennan sends out this runner. Second start of the year that I like because the first one to me was at Oak Lawn Park and was a nice practice 6 furlong race. Now we drop in for the tag with Rafael Bejarano. For second, Blast Furnace going out for Cherie DeVoe. Good effort at a big price in the second start since Saratoga. And for third, Readier, number 6. So it's 8-2-6.
In the third race, we have optional claimers for 100,000. I'm just looking. There's only one in here for the tag.
Yes.
Non-winners are one. Other than the condition, 9 furlongs is the trip.
And that one is in my picture. It's 2, 1, and 6. Now, I show you how inflations work, Seth. This condition all across America was always optional 80s 1X. And it changed about a year ago or such. These are basically, and they're always restricted to 3-year-olds, whether it's Phillies boys. 2-1-6 for me, Jess Basking. Ian Wilkes, runner. How often you hear this, folks? Shortens up after the maiden victory. Going 10 furlongs on the dirt. Comes down, takes on winners for the first time. The offspring of Arrogate. And I'm starting to really think, Seth, that his loss, his early mortality, I think it is significant. And I am also starting to think that his race career, and this is hard to believe because it's really only 4 races that we talk about, was even better than I thought, because he is going to have, when it's all done, the horses he sired is going to be unbelievable. Standout sensation, Tom Amos, winner recently, blinkers off for second. And then, as Seth mentioned, the one horse in for a tag, Mike Tomlinson's Cat's Cave, number 6. Huge price in here, making the seasonal debut. So 2-1-6.
Race number 4 this afternoon. We're looking at maiden specials. They're going to go a mile. I wrote at the top of my page, competitive race.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And, at a high level competitive. I mean, here's an example, Seth. You have the full field of 12 and 4 AEs. Now, maiden special weight's a condition we get around America all the time. And you don't usually see 16 drop. And I've said this before, and Jeff Carl told me this. There might have been 42 horses. Oh, wait a second. I take that back. It can't be at Churchill because we'd get 20, right? They'd list 20. So 16 must have entered in here. But Jeff told me, like in New York, when you see 16, you have no idea how many entered. 11, 8, and 2. And following Seth's lead, even though I sent these in about 9 o'clock yesterday morning, it's wide open. And I've said this many times to you folks. If it's a head scratcher to you, don't land on the 3-1 shot. It just, that doesn't seem to make sense. Belle of the Bluegrass and Midshipman, another son of Unbridled Song, as with Arrogate, who is a quietly successful stallion. This horse was on debut, ran on a fast track, ran second, has caught consecutive sloppy tracks since then. Goes out today for Riley Mott, who won the other day. For second, number 8, Union Miss. Brendan Walsh's runner in here is the veteran in the main body, going to the post for the 8th time. And for third, excluding what I said as one of my cardinal rules earlier, is Bell's Beach. 7-2, got a 70 buyer debut at 6-1, ran off the board. To me, that has all the perfect earmarks of practice for this offspring of Curlin. 11, 8, 12.
And Bell's Beach, ridden by Irad Ortiz with no New York racing. He's taking advantage and going down to church. I wonder if he's bunking with his brother, who, and I just pulled up the numbers here. That somebody early on tweeted out, Jose Ortiz was doing okay at that point, but it was in the Keeneland meet, I think. So he wasn't knocking it out of the park. But somebody said, I wonder how Jose feels about that move to Kentucky now. And I thought, I don't think he's doing that bad. So just to give you the update, currently he is sitting at number 1, 5 ahead of Tyler Gaffleone at Churchill Downs. So it's to me, I think Jose's probably pretty happy with the Kentucky move at this point.
I think in the big picture, it helps him because it always helps to be almost, Pat Day wrote the book on this. To be the big dog, the size of the pond doesn't matter if you're the big dog. It's just, it just doesn't matter. It's we say it all the time, or I like to say it all the time about, I'm just trying to take a look at these guys because I have my Churchill Downs up today, is, some of these jocks, I mean, they're riding the 6th or 7th live horse in the race. They don't really have a chance to win a race. I mean, it's just not.
And I said the other day, it's also to go in, and this is his first season here in Kentucky. And if you don't know, he announced during Florida Gulfstream that he was going to spend the rest of the year in Kentucky, except for Saratoga. So he'd moved to Kentucky and Keeneland and Churchill and whatnot. And I said it earlier this week because I was talking about this when I saw he was number 1 on the list. It's hard to go to a new circuit and break in and do well. And you and I remember when Southern California had the all-star jock lineup.
They just got killed.
And a guy like Cordero
and Santos at his peak.
Yeah, and so it's tough to break into a new circuit.
Now, what I've always said is, and this is the Edgar Prado angle, you got to get a barn. Prado got Kimmel, so he knew he was going to get live mounts, and he made it work for him. If you have one, and I remember when Santos went, and this was when California was at its apex, 1990-ish, and I followed, all the top barns were taken. That's it. You got to have a barn. Like somebody has to say to Jose, listen, you come, you ride for me, and, you're like, okay, I'm going to have.
With the bonuses for Kentucky breds, there's a lot of New York guys over the past couple of years that are going to Kentucky with their Kentucky bred. So he's teaming up with some of them occasionally. So that helps as well.
Well, here he is. He's, I agree with you. He's doing okay. I don't think we're going to be having any.
Yeah, like I say, you show up at a new circuit, and Kentucky now is a tough circuit. A lot of money up, and you're number 1.
I hate to say this,
again,
Seth.
5 ahead of Gaffleone at this point.
I really, from May to Thanksgiving, I honestly think it's about the best racing in America.
Well,
I mean, I never thought I would say this.
Now.
Yeah. I mean, you got Keeneland 2 times, you got Churchill twice. It's pretty good.
Have you gone through the 5th?
I have 2, 3, 12 here. Marisol Sugar for John Ortiz, my top pick, coming out of the 2-turn 1-mile race at Oaklawn Park. And I was at, not Seth suggested, but I've been following the winners of races. As Oaklawn Park has done terrifically. Wonder Ride, second start since Saratoga for Ken McPeak. The first race to me is immaterial, the comeback. A, it was in the slop. B, it would have been just practice. And a horse that I almost put higher, number 12, Sabrina, going out for Brendan Walsh, a new barn, second start of the year, 2-3-12.
Let's justify it. 8-1 from Pletcher and Irod Ortiz. Looks interesting. I like Marisol Sugar too.
Yes.
Here, all right, we'll do one more, and we'll kick off the stake section with the Arlington. $275,000 up for grabs in a Grade 3 event. They will travel 1.1 miles on the turf.
5.62, Northern Invader, my top pick, coming off of a victory in the second start of the year. Chasing the Crown, number 6, second start since February. A good comeback race in a 3X. And then for third, Emmanuel, who I, will always have a soft spot in my heart, getting home in the poker stakes, assuring the ROI last year, 5.62 in a very competitive 8-horse field.
Poker this year, we're looking for Casa Creed to show up at Belmont Stakes Festival up at Saratoga. That should be fun. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more Churchill a little bit later on. Woodbine, stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Again, June 1st, a beautiful afternoon here in the Capital District, and hopefully beautiful at the tracks we're looking at, because big stakes action at Churchill a little bit later on. We'll look at Woodbine, but we continue the stakes action at Churchill, the Aristides. It is $275,000 up for grabs and a quick 3/4 of a mile.
How often do you see a listed stakes race for 275 that has a long history? I mean, this was graded up until 2019, from 99 to 2018. Lost its grading, but they still big bucks. I'm against Skelly here. It's a complete throwout. It's my fiercest angle in the Kentucky Derby.
Not you. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Well, I'm like, how, eventually, I'm just thinking that you don't run the 100-buyer speed figure, and I'll be sitting there. I mean, also, I think this horse is going to be 2-5.
Oh, he's going to take a lot of action.
I mean, he's going to be
the buyer
4-5 almost looks attractive.
Yeah.
He will be nowhere near that price. And I've said this many times before, and I know you agree. The difference between 3-5, 2-5, and 1-5 are big differences. My sisters think they're just one day. I go, they're not. This horse is going to be 2-5. I don't think it'll be 1-5. 1-6-2, just that, this is not the day for him, that the wheels come off after the two big races from Saudi Arabia. Tejano Twist for Chris Hartman gets back to 6, which I think helps. Bourbon Heist makes the second start off of a big victory, going 7 for Ian Wilkes. And for third, close the game, Sugar. Adam Rice will always be a favorite in this house, 1-6-2.
8th race at Churchill, the Shawnee Grade 3 event. The fillies and mares traveling 8.5 furlongs.
The thing with me with Skelly is after this race, I trained him up to the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He's had a long campaign, the big campaign. 7-3-6, got its grading last year. Bill Mott sends out the 7 with Javier Castellano. They add blinkers today. Now, in the old days, Seth, you had to get permission from the stewards after a win to change equipment. A very brilliant performance going the mile. For a second, Wet Paint. Been down this road before. I don't apparently zig and zag at the right time with Wet Paint. And for third, Phil Bauer sends out the 6, second off of the first off of the disaster in the La Troyenne, 7-3-6. And now I just want to say this. I love him, so this is clearly not a bash. But I was clearly right about Hoosier Philly. Has run the same numbers forever. I mean, now it's like 12-race career. She's like at 80 all the time.
Shiny Julia is now in that category, too.
I'll buy that.
We're kind of expecting, but the numbers were low. 9th at Churchill, the Grade 3 event. 1.8 miles on the grass.
Did you write wide open at the top of this? Because I thought it was. 8, 7, 10. Sassy Princess, I think, is a major player here at 8-1, going out the third start of the year. Broke the maiden, ran well against winners. For a second, Hello Hollywood coming in for Brian Lynch off of a near victory over at Keeneland late in the meet. And for third, Faith Understood. But boy, I tell you, Sassy Princess with Flavian Prat in the saddle, look out, 8, 7, 10.
The Blame is race number 10, Grade 3 event, and they will go 9 furlongs.
He's not in my mix, but Tapit Trice here, Seth, making the first start since the Travers. I am 3-2-6. War Campaign for Phil Simms, not the quarterback, makes the third start of the year. Love the comeback race, slight regression. Now we move forward with a good post position draw. For a second, Highland Falls, Brad Cox sends out there are not too many horses that can say they're offsprings of both parents were Breeders' Cup winners. And for third, Dreamlike for Todd Pletcher, a terrific, I'd say this all the time, usually the other way, Seth, but this is a borderline grade 2, 3-2-6.
I'm taking a little shot with Cagliostro.
Okay.
Cherie Duval seems to be on a little bit of a roll
She
right
certainly
now.
is, certainly down there.
Nice gutsy win at Keeneland. The 11th and final will go off just before 6 o'clock. It is the Audubon. Yeah, absolutely. The 3-year-olds on the turf. And again, they'll go 9 furlongs.
239 for me. Shug sends out the recent off-the-board finisher in the American turf. But before that, a hard luck loser in the Transylvania cameo performance. The 3 ran the day after I was at Keeneland to a victory, breaking the maiden, makes the 3rd career start, 2nd one. And for third, number 9, Lagios going out for Steve Asmussen. Hit the board at a gigantic price in the American turf, 2, 3, and 9 in the Audubon.
I'm with Cagino too. I agree. Tough beat 2 back, and I thought kind of a trip to maybe overcome in that last race. So I think the West Point
the American turf,
is interesting. All right, we will take another break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention. I think they're calling it. I think this is Stephen Foster preview day at Churchill. I think it's Super Stakes Saturday at Woodbine. 4
Gotta
stakes
have a
up
title
there.
or it doesn't count.
So we'll take a look north of the border right after this. Stay tuned. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Last Saturday at Woodbine, a rarity in the sport. No favorites. And when people look at me as if that's not a thing, I said, think about this. At Saratoga, it happens about once every 3 years that there's a day where all the favorites get shut out. But here's a better one, Seth. Since Saturday, now they've only run 34 races. 17 of them have been at 6.5 furlongs. Not only... I would be taken aback if they'd been run at the popular 6 furlong distance, but 6.5 furlongs is an odd distance. They have run 50% of their races since Saturday last through Friday at 6.5 furlongs. I've never, except when the old days, remember when Finger Lakes used to open up and they ran 4.5 furlongs for like 3 days?
Weeks. No, it was like 3 weeks.
It was a while. But we're well into the Woodbine season, but there it is. So here we go, taking off. Phillies in the opener, mile 16.
7, 6, 5, and 3. I'll put Sputnik on top. Mark Casse, as is typical of Mark Casse, having a great start to the Woodbine meet. And I don't see any reason why this one can't continue that. Won the debut at Woodbine last November. and then got the season off to a start at Tampa. Didn't run quite as well, but I think we'll appreciate the return to Woodbine for, again, the aforementioned Mark Casse. Second spot, Cozy Curlin Kitten, who made the seasonal debut, a winning one. And again, we're at that point of the year where a lot of these horses have taken the winter off at Woodbine and are making their first or second starts back. I like when they have a race under the belt. This one, a winning race under the belt already. So Cozy Curlin Kitten in the mix, and then Strega in the third spot. This one hasn't been seen since last December. Workouts are okay. There are a couple that seem to indicate horse probably comes back ready to roll, and going off for Kevin Attard, who another trainer that's off to a nice start at the meet. In the first at Woodbine, 7, 6, 5, and 3.
So you have the Soviet Union space program and an after-dinner aperitif in your trifecta at Woodbine. So far, I think the only distance they've run on the inner turf course is 7.5 furlongs.
I have it 9, 5, 2, and 11. Serenading Hall. Seasonal debut is a good second. And again, I like at this point of the year when we do have horses that have gotten the race under the belt, gotten a little fitness, and this one, again, put in a nice start to the season, one to build on, good foundation, I would think. Second spot, different drum, similar scenario. Nice little third place finish in the first start of the season, but you also get a little class drop here in the second start back. I think that'll be beneficial, added to that fitness. And then in the third spot, Sarah's Dancer, another one getting some class relief off a seasonal debut that was okay. And, it was a 6th place finish, but again, it was against a little bit better and just has to have added some fitness off the December to May layoff. Subsequently has put in a little bullet workout as well and moves over to the turf, which I think will be beneficial because that bullet work was on the turf. So I think Sarah's Dancer is very, very playable in here. In the second, I have it 9, 5, 2, and 11.
I take that back. Apparently, they've run 3 races, not at 7.5. You could guess it, 5.5 and 6. On to the third, maiden special weights, back on the synthetic, going 1 mile and 16.
7, 6, 5, and 3. Catch the drift on top. It's Mark Casse again, a horse that ran a decent third in the seasonal debut. Again, a December to May layoff, and the comeback was pretty good, one to build on. Roy Kopp in the second spot, first-time starter for Mark Casse, and I think, there's a nice steady string of workouts going back to Palm Beach Downs down in Florida, but now has been up in Canada throughout May and has some nice workouts, including the latest on the turf, which is very interesting. Maybe that'll be the game plan for this horse going forward, and that they put that turf work in. But we'll see. I think this horse could be a little bit live in debut. And then Beautiful Sky in the third spot. First couple of starts last October and November were a couple of nice starts, a couple of improving starts. If this horse comes back with a little more improvement as a 3-year-old, I think becomes dangerous. And I like Sky Mesa as a sire up there on the synthetic. 7, 6, 5, and 3.
On to the fourth. We're on the turf, going 1 mile.
4, 6, 1, and 11. I will put Creed's Gold on top. Last seen at the very end of March down at Gulfstream. That was on the turf down there. There's a couple of turf starts and a synthetic start down there. And they were all nice little improving efforts. You look at the numbers, was incrementally moving forward nicely, broke the maiden last time, so there was improvement with the finishing position as well. It's Mark Casse again with a horse on the improve, an 8-1 on the morning line. Nice workout coming in. I think there's plenty to like for number 4, Creed's Gold. Emerance in the second spot. It's another Mark Casse runner. This one hasn't been seen since last September, but like the top pick, has shown a nice progression in the first few starts and is also coming in with some nice works going back to the beginning of May down at Mark Casse's Florida base, put in a little bullet work that looked okay, and then on the move up to Woodbine has put in a nice work. So I think we'll be live. And the Nygon Factor in the third spot, another one that hasn't been seen since last September. But so far in 4 starts of the career, they have all been very, very good, and comes in with a bullet workout that seems to indicate this horse will be live in the seasonal debut. 4th race, 4, 6, 1, and 11.
On to the 5th, the grade 3, Jacques Cartier at 6.
3, 4, 7, and 2. I'm going to put Candy Overload on top. I couldn't ignore this horse off the stakes win already up at Woodbine back on the 5th of May. Won the Thorncliffe and did it pretty nicely. Flag of Honor was just behind the top pick in that last event. So these two both come in very good form, and I think are live off of that performance in the stake last time. And then Step Forward. Like the top pick, goes out for Mark Cassie, so becomes the other Mark Cassie at the morning line price. But like the top pick, won the last start. Top pick did it in the stake. This one did it an optional claimer, but they were both pretty good efforts. So I think belongs in the conversation. In the 5th of Woodbine, 3, 4, 7, and 2. And if we're going to go
before we go to our break, the dark horse play of the day.
And I'm going back to Churchill, and you may appreciate the dark horse play of the day today. Dark horse play of the day today for me is in the 5th at Churchill, another one of those races I wrote at the top of the page, competitive, but on top for me, Merrow Sugar. So I like that there's a meeting of the minds here. John Ortiz trains, Jose Ortiz on board, comes out of a stakes try at Oaklawn, ran 7th there, but was right up in the mix for most of the race before fading a little bit. Now moves back to the more proper non-winners of one other than, but does it on the move from Oaklawn. I always like that move at this time of year. Comes in with a couple of decent little Churchill workouts. We're looking at 6-1 on the morning line. I think this horse very interesting, very playable in here in a race that, again, the Misjustify at 8-1. I debated that one. I have that one right underneath in my mix. Simply Enchanting for Phil D'Amato at 6-1. It's a fun race, but I'll take a little shot. Dark horse play of the day for today. Race 5 at Churchill Downs. Horse number 2, Merrow Sugar. And thanks to our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway and Saratoga, for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse play of the day during the Triple Crown season.
We'll be right back.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number one choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Welcome back. We're up to race number 6, 7 furlongs on the turf.
6, 3, 9, and 5. I'll put Clear Destination on top. 6-1 on the morning line. Hey, I'd be interested if we get that. I think it's a fairly competitive bunch, but this one off the near miss in the seasonal debut. Now, that was down at Gulfstream, but it was a December to late April layoff. It's Marty Drexler, who was
killing it.
Yeah, very good trainer up there at Woodbine, and does nicely now that he winters in Florida down there as well. And this one, the seasonal debut, the good effort, the move back up to Woodbine where the horse has done all right in the past. I think Clear Destination is live. Also, Marty Drexler, number 3, Border Town, also coming in off a close-up second place finish last time. This one at Woodbine on the move from Gulfstream this winter. So another one that seems in very good form and seems a logical player. And then Secret Reserve in the 3rd spot. Ran 3rd last time, just behind Border Town. So you kind of like one, you have to like the other as well. For me, again, I think it's kind of a fun race. 6, 3, 9, and 5.
On to the 7th, the mile 16th on the synthetic. The grade 3, is it Bell Mahone?
I would say,
Mahoney?
I would go Mahone, but that's
Okay.
a good question. I'll ask where I'm getting.
All right.
7, 6, 5, and 3. I'll put Millie Girl on top. Catherine Day Phillips. Always enjoy our trips up to Woodbine. I go over to her barn and speak with her. And what tilted me in favor of this one, I always like when you can look back and a horse that is making the seasonal debut off a layoff, go back and look in previous years. And last year, this horse came back October to a May layoff and won the comeback effort. So I thought, that's a good sign. I think this horse is stakes quality. The comebacker last year was not a stakes race, but I think this horse now is stakes quality. And given that we've run well off a layoff before, I'll tilt towards Millie Girl. Fashion will be Fab in the 2nd spot. Comes in off a string of wins, 4 wins in the last 4 starts, albeit September, October, November, December. So one that has to overcome the layoff, but the workouts seem okay. And then Solo Album in the 3rd spot. Seasonal debut was late March down at Gulfstream. It wasn't much, but I'll tell you what, that has the look of one you can draw a line through. It looks like a complete aberration. It's a Mark Casse runner. I'm going to expect a much better effort today from Solo Album. In the 7th, 7, 6, 5, and 3.
Well, I feel a little better. This has been a long time race at Woodbine, but last year was the first year it had a grading. And that's usually when tracks I'm not completely focused on their stakes action. They usually have to get a grading, so I feel a little bit better. On to the 8th race, the Royal North at 6.5 on the turf.
7, 5, 2, and 9. I like Secret Money in here off the near miss in the race last. Overcharge just ran a huge race Derby weekend there and just would not be denied. And Secret Money was right there in the thick of that battle. And so I'm going to put Secret Money on top. Play the Music in the 2nd spot. Mark Casse trainee comes in off a win in a stake. Already this season up at Woodbine. That was after having tried Stakes Company down at Keeneland in the start. Before that didn't go so well, but won a stake. 3 starts back down at Tampa. So doing pretty well so far this year and may wind up being the one to beat. Baby No Worries in the 3rd spot. 3rd in a stake at right here at Woodbine last time behind Play the Music. And another one, Peacock's Last, who is the one horse in here. But between the two, I thought Baby No Worries was maybe a little more interesting, certainly at a more interesting price. In the 8th at Woodbine, 7, 5, 2, and 9.
On to the 9th, I like to call it the other Eclipse because we have the one in Europe. That's one of the great races, but we're at a mile 16th on the synthetic today at Woodbine.
And this is a nice race. You have a couple of champions in here, and Tyson and Paramount Prince. Paramount Prince, the King's Plate winner last year. So this is a nice race, but I'm going in other directions. 5, 7, 1, and 2. I'm going to put JP Hellish on top. Again, it's Marty Drexler. I like the win down at Gulfstream 2 back. The follow-up was a close-up little 3rd place finish at Gulfstream, but I think it's going to be up to this assignment. This is, again, a salty field in here, but we're going to get a price. And as I say, looking at that race 2 back and looking at the overall Woodbine record, I think JP Hellish is very, very intriguing this afternoon. Get Smoking in the 2nd spot for Mark Casse. This is clearly a very talented stakes runner for Mark Casse. Has won well over $1.6 million when last seen was winning a stakes race at Kentucky Downs. So that means the horse has been off a while, but seems to be working well. And again, this is a talented Casse stakes quality runner. And then I will put Tyson in the 3rd spot. Ended the season a little bit disappointing, perhaps, but had run 3rd in the Jockey Club at Saratoga last summer. And I think, a relatively lightly raced 5-year-old that has some talent. I'm going to look for a little rebound in the seasonal debut in the 9th at Woodbine, 5, 7, 1, and 2.
And wrapping up a mile on the turf, maiden special weights.
3, 6, 10, and 2. Up with number 3, Worship on top, going out for Mark Casse. So I'm looking for Mark to have a big day, which I don't think is out of the question the way he's going at the meet so far. A couple of starts so far this year down at Gulfstream and then came up to Woodbine. None of them were spectacular. They were all okay. But it's one of those situations where you look at the rest of this particular field, I think she'll fit fine. Quality presence in the second spot going out for Josie Carroll. Josie ran a few down at Gulfstream this year, including this horse. Started the season on March 24th. Again, wasn't much of an effort, but the numbers this horse throws, like the top pick, are going to match up okay with most of this group. Anti-Hero in the third spot. Mark Cassie trainee, kind of clunked last time at Turfway, but the two Woodbine starts last year I thought were pretty good. And so I'm hoping this horse now, as a very lightly raced 4-year-old on the return to Woodbine, maybe even improves off of those Woodbine starts earlier in the career. In the 10th and final at Woodbine, 3, 6, 10, and 2.
There's just to show you, there's no advertising here. But this is, of all the sporting events I've covered, this is my favorite trinket I ever got.
That's pretty good.
It's awesome. It's what these all are the official logos of the 40 Breeders' Cups last year. So that was, I didn't get the hotel rate, which didn't bother me that much, but I got do they call it swag if it's not something you can wear?
Yeah, I think it's all swag.
Okay. So that was the finest piece of swag. I told my wife, do not put it in the dishwasher, please. It'll eventually wear off all the, but what a great idea. They had the 40th at Santa Anita, and I mean, you can see loans. I mean, it's just a terrific idea. So that was the swag. Delmont in the next 2 years, right? Back to back.
Yeah, you just mentioned Lone Star. I'd forgotten all about that.
Oh, well, you have to forget about it. It doesn't matter. Matter of fact, Lone Star fell off my list of paying attention to.
I don't know how they survive. You can't, nobody can play it essentially unless you're there.
It's rough. I did look at the purses, and it's hard to stay in business. So we'll see how.
They have a nice little stakes program. I mean, a lot of
it's
big names are going down and jumping into the stakes action.
Baffert was like the first one to support him right away. He brought his better horses to their stakes races when they first opened, and but then
we didn't mention at the top of the show, Fierceness. No Belmont, going to head to the Haskell. If people didn't see that in the last couple of days. And Resilience, he might be interesting for me. Now they're thinking Resilience, maybe they're contemplating.
I think it's the Pletcher operation. He's skipping the pre. I think it's really kind of like everybody says how great it is, but we don't really want to be in it. It's great for the others. Like, I will say this, and we're not going to do this, but I think it's fantastic that the Belmont is at 1.25 miles. I think it's going to bridge much better. And I thought there'd be more horses that would be comfortable instead of trying to stretch them out to 12 furlongs, going 10. That hasn't really materialized. Then we got that news, what was it, about 48 hours ago about Fierceness. That's fine. But I really, the Belmont in all its history at 1.5 miles is, I'm telling you, there've been some winners lately that haven't done too much after the fact. So it's like, but did he address like 5 weeks wasn't enough?
I think he said he didn't like the way the horse was good. They want another week or two.
Okay, so we'll see. But I'll be interested to see the field size. I mean, but it's going to be tremendous, and it's it's so odd. There's no New York racing on a Saturday in the summer. I mean, still technically spring, but summer.
It is very odd, but we'll make up for it next week certainly. And again, by tomorrow, all the entries will be out except for the Met and the Belmont. Those will be drawn 5 o'clock on Monday. So by Monday night,
obviously the form isn't going to put out the PPs until they're drawn. So that's for Saturday. But looking forward to it. You have one more day, but we'll be up there when?
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday morning. So mark that on your calendar. 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. We'll do a little handicapping or just taking a look at what's coming up over the next few days.
It's going to be great. Mother Nature is the only variable, but everything else is going to be fantastic. He stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. It's glorious out there, albeit, but there is, 2 tracks we covered have fantastic 21 races for your appetite. Have a great Saturday.
TB. a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.